Hi everyone, Yom Tov, it's your friend Hedda back again, and I'd like to wish you a very happy Friday. And it's, not be long until it's time to start Shabbat, so I thought I'd get this out now while I could. Sorry about the hair today, I've just sort of had to fling things on, and I apologise for the face, but it's been a bit of a rough night, so, there's a few things have happened that I'd like to talk about. Anyway, there's a few things in this video and there's a few things I'd just like to clear up and get off my chest. I'm not quite sure what order they're going to come in because, I'm not scripted. So everything is just going to fall out of me as it tends to fall out of me, right? You all know the drill by now. So, in the news this week, we've had an almost royal type of visit from the United States from love him or hate him James Charles, who turned up in Birmingham near the Bullring. Now that area of Bullring, that part of Birmingham is sort of highly concentrated with traffic. So it's quite easy to block traffic, okay? And I saw a tweet from someone that really, really annoyed me. And it said to James that this girl, I'm presuming she's a teenager, because let's face it, his audience is majoritively teenagers, that she was ashamed to be British because, the fact that the British media didn't know who he was. Right, okay. The other thing that also knocked me in that was when he was in the Uber taxi and he was talking to his driver who didn't know who he was, and it came over the radio that this DJ didn't know who he was. And I have to correct James, that is not the biggest radio station in the United Kingdom. The biggest radio station in the United Kingdom is Radio 1, and that's actually proper core BBC. The radio station that he was featured on is pertaining to that particular part of the country in Birmingham. So I'm afraid, James, you didn't get exposure on the BBC, although it did leak out a bit, but it wasn't really talked about. And the reason for that is, James, is because I don't know about the rest of the world. I can only speak for the UK per se. But YouTube, although it's been around for a long time, the majority of people like yourselves, like beauty influencers and things like that, are very popular with young people who are starting to learn to use makeup and what have you. And they look to you, and of course they want to be you, they want to be just like you and whatever. But like I said in my video to Jeffree Star, not everybody knows who you are. And there's going to be a generation in this country, in fact, 2 generations that I can think of, that either A, don't even know YouTube exists because they don't use computers, and B, some will watch YouTube, but they won't watch beauty channels. They'll watch it for other stuff, like news or gardening or politics or stuff like that. They're not like sad like me, who likes to watch the beauty drama, and then I like to watch the drama channels and things like that. But not everybody knows who these beauty influencers are. There'll be a lot of people who haven't heard of the lovely Tati, who I think is a lovely girl. And by the way, I wish her tons and tons of luck trying to, make it a baby. I really hope it happens for her, because she'll be a wonderful mother. But when James said about he had to educate this DJ on the sisterhood, and I rang up the station and I said, "I'm James Charles, put me through immediately," I just took a step back and I thought, you're 19 years old. Who the heck do you think you are? You're not a president of a nation. You're what is it that James Charles is famous for? Let's get this down to bare bones. What is James Charles actually famous for? Putting makeup on, right? Now, he's a young gay man. That's fine. My son is gay. Not a problem with that. But he's pretty talented when it comes to putting makeup on, right? And, I won't take that away from him. He's great. But he has an ego the size of Jupiter. He really thinks he is the next best thing to sliced bread. And you know what? We've got a saying over here is, you may be great today, but you'll be tomorrow's fish and chip wrappings, right? Which basically means is, enjoy your time while you've got it, because once you start to slide and people start to forget you, because someone new has taken your place, that's just how it rolls, love. That's exactly how it rolls, So, no, not everybody is going to know who you are, James. And yes, it's great that 8,000 people, turned out to see you. That's absolutely marvellous. But when we get somebody like the Pope who comes here and he can fill a 100,000 seater stadium, I think we're sort of putting things into proportion. I mean, everybody knows who the Pope is, and he's been on YouTube, no doubt. But, the thing is, you're not as important as you think you are, James. The sisterhood isn't quite as important as you seem to think it is. I personally am not a huge fan of James Charles, and the reason why is because I think he is a self-entitled, over-opinionated, big-headed boy. Pretty much. I mean, over in the United States, he's not even old enough to drink. It's not like that here. At 19, you can go into a pub and you can have a drink, and that's legal. But you can't even go into a pub and have a drink. But I personally have my own conspiracy, allegedly, don't come to me, thank you to that, to Rich Lux, credit him, that I think James models himself on Jeffrey. He even speaks a little like the way Jeffrey speaks. And the more I listen to him, the more I think, yeah, he's set himself out to be the next Jeffree Star. He wants to have his own makeup line, stuff like that. I tell you what, we'll have a spooky moment, shall we? I predict that James Charles is setting himself up to be the next Jeffree Star with his own line of cosmetics and his own business. And when that happens, you can come back to me and say, Hedda, you were right. You spooky old witch. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And coming back to the tweet from that tween who said she was ashamed to be British because a makeup star wasn't recognised in the UK. Do you know what, little one? You want to be so grateful to be British. We should all be patriotic about where we're from in the world. And I've always really admired Americans for, saluting the flag and things like that. I think that's amazing. I've always found American people to be very, very patriotic. And that to me is a very good thing. But speaking as a Brit, I am patriotic. I'm very proud to be British. I was actually born in Wales, so I'm Welsh born. I was raised in Scotland and then lived the majority of my life in England. So I'm a bit of a patchwork quilt, but I'm very, very proud of being born in Wales. I'm very proud of my Scottish roots because one side of my family is Scottish and Irish, and the other side is from Polish Jewry. So everything sort of comes together. But always be proud of where you're from. Never say that you're ashamed to be where you're from. If someone of the same nationality brings your country into disrepute, then you say that you're ashamed of that person. But don't say that you're ashamed to be from that country, because that's tarnishing everybody with the same brush. So, for example, Ted Bundy, he was an American. He was a serial killer. He was a very, very wicked man. But I can't say you should be ashamed to be American because Ted Bundy was a serial killer. See? Doesn't make sense, does it? So always be proud of your roots. No matter where you come from, be proud of them. Because it makes you who you are. You know? You can be born in one country and live in another. Whichever one has raised you and instilled various, morals and principles in you, then be proud. You can happily say, I was born in America, but I owe Britain my upbringing, for example. But bottom line, just be proud of where you're from. And James, take a seat, son, and learn to be a little bit more humble. Although, again, we've got another one who is not going to listen to the likes of me, because, who's going to listen to this daft old bag on Friday? Now, I did say in my previous but one video that I was going to shout somebody out every week who is not only a friend of mine, but another YouTube creator. And I didn't in my last video. That was very bad of me. So today I would like to dedicate this video to my friend Joe of Unmumsy Musings, Josephine. She loves pineapples, and especially pineapples on a pizza. She has her own channel. She is her own candle review company. She also does a bit of social commentary and things like that. So I'm going to link her channel down below. So would you please go and watch her videos and give her a thumbs up and tell her that I sent you. Get my words out. I'm terrible with words. But Jo is an inspiration to me. She's also a very good friend to me. She is a lovely girl. She really is. I only promote the best people. So please go along and see Jo. Now, there's one final thing that I would like to talk to you about. And it's a word I think we can all stand side by side, hold each other's hands and say, we hate it. And that's cancer. And that's one of the reasons why I look a bit more rough than I normally do today. I have a very close friend at the moment. She's not on Twitter, she's on Facebook. And she lives 300 miles away. I've never met her in real life. But we've talked an awful lot over the years. We've been friends for about 7 years. And a year ago, after being ignored by our doctors for 2 years, it was found that she had ovarian cancer. Now, she had chemo on and off for 6 months. Then they left her be for 6 months and she was feeling an awful lot better. And then she started to feel poorly again. Her tummy filled with so much fluid, she looked pregnant. I mean, heavily pregnant. She had 9 litres of fluid drained from her tummy yesterday. And she had a scan done. And the doctors think it's now bowel cancer. And I don't want to lose my friend. And she and I go back to when I had my very best friend in the whole world. And she was called Suze. Now, Suze and I met years and years ago when we both first joined eBay in 2003. And we both became members of a group called Q&A. And it was an eBay run group for people who knew the workings of eBay, and people could come, buyers and sellers alike, and ask for advice. And we would give them advice. And Suze was about 10 years older than me, but she acted like she was 16, and she'd led the most amazing life, really had. And I loved her. And we became confidants. And we became each other's best friend. Anyway, later on in our relationship is when we met Lorraine. So Lorraine knew Suze for a little while, but everybody knew that Suze and I were literally joined at the hip. And then Suze started feeling poorly, and this was back in 2011. And I nagged her to get herself seen to. And she was so stubborn and she wouldn't go. Eventually, she went and had some polyps removed from her womb. And she was told to go straight back. And because of the pain she was in, she said to me, I'm not going back. And I argued with her. I argued the toss with her. But for the pain she was in, she wouldn't go back. So, in the middle of 2014, she decides that things are not going well. She comes to me again and asks my advice, and I said, will you please get yourself to the doctor? And she did. And then, on the morning of the 29th of September, 2014, she rang me up screaming, I've got cancer. I don't want to die. Please tell me I'm not going to die. And it was ovarian and cervical cancer. So they put her through chemo and what have you. But she never got an even break. It spread to her bowel, to her liver. And the funny thing is, it wasn't the cancer that killed Suze. She had a heart attack at 3:30 in the morning when she was in hospital. And that was the 21st of September 2015. And it's weird, you know, because when she was in hospital, and she spent the last few months of her life in hospital, a fair bit, and she would always call me between 3 and 3:30 in the morning, and we would talk. Or sometimes she'd text. If she didn't have the energy to talk, she'd text me. And that went on for months. So for her to leave at that time, I thought that was a bit weird. So I lost my best friend to cancer. And obviously, eventually her heart just gave up. She couldn't take any more. And I'm very scared that I'm going to lose my friend Lorraine. So this message is to anyone out there
who hasn't had a smear done, please go and have one done. Please don't ignore it. I don't want to lose anybody else. I'm talking to my friend Lorraine every day, and she does say to me, do you think I'm going to die? I don't have an answer for her, because I just don't know. So I keep pumping her full of stay positive, you've got to keep fighting. And don't forget how much I love you. So anyway, that's the whole gist of this video today. I do apologise, I haven't made you smile or laugh today. I am sorry, and I will be better the next time. So, to all of you, again, I say, please get yourself checked if that's necessary. Take care, all of you. And I'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye now.